I'd like to call to order the meeting of the village board for August 23rd, 2022. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Village clerk, would you please call the roll?
President DeSimone,
Here.
Trustee Franz,
Here.
Trustee Fry,
Here.
Trustee Penicola,
Here.
Trustee Perez.
Here.
That's 5.
All right, before we begin, I just want to make a short little announcement. I guess not little, but an announcement.
Your Honor, can we just call Rosa?
Oh, Rosa, I'm sorry. Can you call Rosa? Call Rosa?
Let the record show Trustee Carmona.
Trustee Carmona. Here.
Sorry.
Sorry.
We'll do the presentation first? All right, we'll do all right, let's move to the public hearing presentation, which is a presentation of the Village of Bentonville's annual comprehensive financial report and single audit report for fiscal year ending December 31st, 2021 by David Jelonic.
Mr. Jelonic, please
Sorry.
take the stand.
Take the stand.
Good evening. I had heard some questions about how big the report is. It's 216 pages total. I'm going to go through every one of them in extreme detail. We should finish sometimes probably about Friday morning. Just want to give you an overview of the annual comprehensive report. The first part, which is in Roman numerals, that's the introductory section. It features things like the name of the president, name of the trustees, organizational chart, and then transmittal letter, which details, which is a letter from the village manager and the finance director discussing some of the things going on in the village, segueing into the financial statements. And then on Roman numeral page 11 is a certificate of achievement for excellence in financial reporting, which the village received last year for the December 31st, 2020. So that award is in there. We feel that this report meets the same standards and should also win the award this year from the Government Finance Officers Association. Turning then to page 1, that's our independent auditor's report. That's where we issue an opinion on the financial statements. We issued an unmodified opinion, which means we feel that the financial information presented here is presented fairly, materially stated, that we don't feel that there are any material errors in the information that's presented. Turning then past the opinion, after page 3 is the management's discussion and analysis, which is a high-level overview of the information you'll see on the following pages in the financial statements. I won't go through it in detail, but does provide good information, discusses why maybe some numbers went up, some numbers went down, and I think just provides some background information which is helpful and useful to the user. Turning then, once we get past the MD&A, we get to the basic financial statements. The first set of statements are what's called the government-wide financial statements. So that basically takes all governmental funds, which at a fund level are recognized on a modified accrual basis. Basically, current assets, current liabilities, the governmental activities here are presented on full accrual, which include capital assets and long-term debt, which are the major differences there. I do want to point, though, if you turn to page 5, the business type activities, I will point out, those fund level statements are presented on full accrual for the utility, the recycling and refuse, and the commuter parking lot. So pretty much that column should be pretty much a total of what you see at the fund level for those 3 funds. But if you look at the bottom of page 5, you see a total net position of a positive 89.5 million for governmental activities and a positive 81.9 for business type activities. not too many of my clients have that in the governmental activities. A lot of time, depending if there's a lot of debt, that number can become negative. It's not here. It's positive. So I think that's important to point out as far as the fiscal sustainability, but also the due diligence and due care that have been put into the village's finances. So the statement of activities then is just the income statement of the governmental activities as a whole and the business type activities as a whole. Looking there, governmental activities, change in net position, so change in equity year over year was a positive 15.6 million in governmental activities, and then a positive 4.4 million in business type activities, for a grand total of about $20 million added to net position. Turning to page 7, that's the governmental funds balance sheet. We present 7 funds as major funds, which means that either their assets and deferred outflows, liabilities and deferred inflows, revenues or expenditures are at least 10% of the total of the fund type, and over 5% of the total funds, both governmental and business type combined, or the village has elected to make a non-major fund a major fund for reporting purposes. So there are 7 major funds: general, parks and recreation, motor fuel tax, debt service, capital improvement, TIF 7, the Irving Park Church Road TIF, and then the North Industrial TIF District. And then all other governmental funds are listed as non-major. As you can see, most of these funds here, except for TIF 7, are showing positive fund balance. So again, in the governmental funds, which again do not have your capital assets and long-term debt on the balance sheet, but again, a very robust $56.8 million in total fund balance among those funds. Turning to page 9, that is just a reconciliation between these fund level statements and the government-wide statements, showing you what's different between the two. Turning to page 10, that's the income statement. If you look in the general fund, the main operating fund of the village, fund balance did increase by 5.4 million. So again, very strong year for the general fund. And Parks and Recreation increased 1.3, and you can see some of the other funds, basically all the other funds had increases for the village. And then on page 12 is just a reconciliation, again, showing what's different between this governmental fund income statement and what's different from the statement of activities on the full accrual basis. Page 13 then, that's the proprietary funds. Utility fund is the only major enterprise fund or proprietary fund. And then the non-major, that's refuse and recycling, as well as the commuter parking lot combined. But again, these numbers very similar then to the numbers we saw on the first 2 pages. After the proprietary statements, ending with the cash flow statement on page 15, then is the statement of fiduciary net position, the pension, police pension trust fund. Again, as you can see, there's 28.1 million restricted for the police pension for the benefit of future retirees, current retirees. That money's been set aside in trust for them. Then, starting on page 18, then is the notes to the financial statement. I won't go into detail on those, but those notes provide just some extra information for some of the more, I guess you could say, I want to say important, but more important metrics such as cash, long-term debt, your capital assets. And so that information is presented in here. And then after that, there's some budgetary schedules for all the funds, as well as then a breakout of each individual fund that makes up those non-major funds. But overall, obviously, I think the village is in strong financial health based upon the dollars that are in equity. I will say, just as a side note, This is an undertaking, but it's really a partnership between us and the finance department. And every year, I know I sing Julie's praises. I'll sing them again because they need to be sung. She does a great job preparing for the audit. Answers every question we have. If she needs to, look into something, it doesn't take very long for a response. I can't say that, unfortunately, about all of my clients, but I definitely can say that about the finance department here. Both Julie and Sharon do a great job and really help facilitate the audit, get us in, get us out, and as a result, you get timely financial information. So I just wanted to pass that along. And
Thanks, Dave. I
pretty
think I
much
just
all
want to point out what the purpose of the audit for the village board is. When Dave says it's a partnership, Dave must have some pretty weird friendships, because when the audit team comes in, and Dave comes in with a full team, they set up camp here, and they go through and they request that we pull certain invoices, certain ordinances. They go through everything with a pretty fine-tooth comb. I know Dave doesn't like to say this. Village managers like to hear it, though. You consider this a clean audit report? I know you guys try to say unmodified
Yes,
these days, but
yes.
the old term would be a clean audit
Yeah,
report.
yes.
All right. I do want to there's, to Julie's, Dave touched on it, there are 2 seasons in the finance world. There's audit season, which we are closing out today, and we're starting budget season, so just one after the other comes at it. So Julie, thanks to you and your team, specifically Sharon. I know Sharon does a huge undertaking as a senior accountant for this. She works in close partnership with Dave. Dave, thanks to you and your team. They are respectful, polite. We enjoy having them here, and they are thorough. So thank you for everything you do on that. Does the board have any questions for Mr. Jelinek? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, moving on, I just have a brief statement I'd like to read before we start the meeting. Over the past 5 years, I've made it a point to make myself available to answer any and all questions. Unlike certain elected boards, I do not need to hide behind closed doors or keyboards. I do not need others to do the talking for me as well. I choose to be open and transparent, as I expect the village to be the same as long as I am the village president. If you need to find out any information on the village, you do not need to look too far. Not only do we record our meetings, we live stream them for people to see. The rumbling I'm hearing now is that the village president just gave himself a raise. Let's address that. Back in 2020, after a review of the village board stipends, it was determined that they needed adjustments to be more accurately reflect the time commitment required to perform their duties. The last adjustment for the stipends was back in 1985, which was 37 years ago. Per Illinois state statute, any adjustment to the compensation to elected officials must occur no less than 180 days prior to election at a public meeting. The stipend does not go into effect until after that election. So in short, whoever won the election would be eligible for the adjustment. I think this board is worth that increase. We work hard, we are accountable, and we stand up for our residents. It should be noted that during the course of making this adjustment, the board also eliminated the deputy village manager position, which was a savings of $150,000, and we also reduced the village debt by over $20 million. So in short, I did not just give myself a raise. I believe a lot of these rumors started from the decision by the Park District to remove the sale of White Pines Golf Course from the referendum, and instead entertain a $20 million tax increase on our residents. The Park District Board President accused me of interfering with his board when I asked that the Park District let the residents decide the sale of the golf course via referendum. The village was constantly attacked over the actions of the Park District. It was the Park District that hired a lobbyist to amend the law to sell the golf course, and it was the Park District that spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to prepare for that sale of the White Pines Golf Course. The lack of a true plan in writing to present to the residents leaves me speechless. Was there really a sale of the course pending, or was it a way to raise taxes on the residents? The only role the village had in the potential sale was to look over any zoning changes once an official plan was submitted, and a plan was never submitted by the Park District. We are informed that the Park District was going to place the sale on referendum, then seemingly overnight, the Park District president did a 180 and removed it from the residents' hands. Any questions? Please feel free to see me in person. Moving on, we will move to public comment. Does anyone wish to address the board? If so, please approach the podium and state your name.
We have 2. Valerie Special.
Hi, guys. Just a quick question about today's agenda. I guess it's item 8, number 1. There's an exhibit attached, Exhibit 1. Can you guys, is it okay? Can you hear me? Exhibit 1, the general fund. Oh, I understand gas and everything goes up, and I am great with the budget, except for under general fund, you have 2 large unexpected projects. You're asking an extra $150,000 for. Can you tell me what those unexpected projects are?
Typically do not respond to public comments, just time to give comment. I think I'm a little lost on what you're looking for. If you want to meet with me afterwards, I'd be happy to talk you
Okay,
through it.
and my next one was about another question on there, so that's fine. I didn't know how this all works here, because it's my first time. But yes, if we can meet Evan, that would be great.
I'd love to sit down with you. Thank you.
The next person is Rainice. Oh, thank you.
I just want to take the opportunity to thank the village board, Frank in particular. I've been living here for 8 years. I lived on Marshall in an apartment, and it burned down a few years ago, and now I'm living on George Street. I didn't want to leave the town. I really appreciate all the effort that you all make, and I appreciate especially Frank's taking time to talk, answer questions, and I always feel welcome in any of our activities. When we were going to Mahdi's, the luncheon we had Friday. It's nice to know when you're part of a minority group like seniors that you're taken into importance. People have a tendency to push you aside. You've had your time, go away. And here in Bensonville, there's a real effort for that, and I really do appreciate it, and I know I'm speaking for others that would do the same. So I'm not asking for anything, I'm just wanting to say thank you so much. People are not thanked enough for some of their special efforts, and you all deserve that. And thank you, Frank, especially.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment?
No, that's it.
This will conclude our public comment. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from the August 9th, 2022 Village Board meeting?
You have a motion?
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Are there any modifications to the minutes? Please call the roll.
Trustee Carmona?
Yes.
Trustee Franz?
Yes.
Trustee Fry?
Yes.
Trustee Pena Cola?
Yes.
Trustee Perez?
Yes.
That's 5.
Motion carries and the minutes are approved. Under the warrant, the next item of business is to approve the warrant in the amount of $1,876,155.76. Is there a motion to approve the warrant?
You have a motion?
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion on the warrant? Please call the roll.
Trustee Carmona?
Yes.
Trustee Franz?
Yes.
Trustee Fry?
Yes.
Trustee Pena Cola?
Yes.
Trustee Perez?
Yes.
That's 5.
Motion carries and the warrant is approved. Under, would the deputy village clerk please read the 16 ordinances and resolutions on the consent agenda that were discussed at the committee of the whole meeting?
Number 1, ordinance adopting an amendment to the annual budget for the Village of Bensonville for the fiscal year commencing January 1, 2022 and ending December 31st, 2022. 2, ordinance approving a special use permit for indoor recreation and granting a variation from minimum off-street parking requirements at 869 Fairway Drive. 3, ordinance denying a variation for maximum driveway width and granting a variation for driveway parking pad width at 217 North Church Road. 4, ordinance granting a variation for a fence in the corner side yard at 1002 South Center Street. 5, ordinance granting site plan review approval and variations to construct an industrial building expansion at 220 North York Road. 6, ordinance of the Village of Bensonville, DuPage, and Cook Counties, Illinois, amending Title 10 zoning ordinance, Section 7 uses, Section 8 off-street parking and loading, and Chapter 10 signs of the Village Code. 7, ordinance designating certain property as surplus and authorizing the disposition of the same. 8, resolution authorizing the execution of an intergovernmental cooperation agreement between the Village of Bensonville and DuPage County regarding the Addison Creek Stormwater Sewer Improvements, Phase 2. 9, resolution authorizing the execution of an easement agreement with Commonwealth Edison Company located at 345 East Green Street. 10, resolution authorizing the execution of an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Wooddale and the Village of Bensonville for the resurfacing and maintenance of certain sections of Pine Avenue and Poplar Avenue. 11, resolution authorizing the award of a design engineering service agreement for the Crestbrook subdivision reconstruction project to James J. Bennis and Associates, Inc., in the not-to-exceed amount of $66,968. 12, resolution authorizing amendment number 1 to the design engineering services agreement for the Church Road pressure adjusting station replacement project to Greenlee and Hanson in the not-to-exceed amount of $74,967 for a revised contract amount of $474,947. 13, resolution authorizing the award of a contract with Superior Road Striping, Inc. of Melrose Park, Illinois for the 2022 pavement striping program in the not-to-exceed amount of $16,041.10. 14, resolution authorizing the award of a design engineering service agreement for the 2023 MFT Village Street Improvements Program to James J. Bennis and Associates, Inc. in the not-to-exceed amount of $81,383. 15, resolution authorizing the purchase order to Robe, Inc. For tuck pointing of the Village Hall building at 12 South Center Street in the not-to-exceed amount of $76,000. 16, resolution authorizing the execution of an ice arena and facility usage agreement with the Fenwick High School Hockey Club.
Is there a motion to approve the 16 ordinances and resolutions listed on the consent agenda and as read by the deputy clerk?
You have a motion.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Carmona?
Yes.
Trustee Franz?
Yes.
Trustee Fry?
Yes.
Trustee Pena Cola?
Yes.
Trustee Perez?
Yes.
That's fine.
Motion carries and the items on the consent agenda are approved. Moving on to the finance, a resolution receiving and placing on file the Village of Bensonville's annual comprehensive financial report and single audit report for fiscal year ending December 31st, 2021. Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
You have a motion?
Do I have a second?
Second.
Being a motion and a second, do we have any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Carmona?
Yes.
Trustee Franz?
Yes.
Trustee Fry?
Yes.
Trustee Pena Cola?
Yes.
Trustee Perez?
Yes.
That's fine.
Motion carries and the resolution is approved. 2 is a resolution authorizing the purchase of a 3-year Microsoft 365 agreement with Dell Technologies in the amount of $107,960.73. Is there a motion to approve the
You have a
resolution?
motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Being a motion and a second, do we have discussion?
I can take this one. Historically, the village has been on a enterprise agreement with Microsoft for Microsoft Office, which is what all of our employee workstations use. This will probably be one of the largest overhauls to the software side of the workstation, where we'll be moving to Office 365. It's obviously the current version of Office. It's also will keep us constantly up to date. A big portion of this moves us on to the cloud and off our servers, which is a good thing, generally speaking, because servers are just a point of failure that we always have to contend with. So while it is over $100,000, it is amortized over 3 years. IT's going to have to do quite a bit of work to migrate us over there, so there will be a couple interruptions. You guys probably see a lot of emails, email outlook will be down during these certain hours. That's something to be anticipated, but overall, it should move us in the next generation for employee workstations.
Any questions from the board? Please call the roll.
Trustee Carmona?
Yes.
Trustee Franz?
Yes.
Trustee Fry?
Yes.
Trustee Pena Cola?
Yes.
Trustee Perez?
Yes.
That's fine.
Motion carries and the resolution is approved. We do not have any other reports from departments. A couple announcements. As the Music in the Park series continues, we have added one more show to the lineup. Heartache Tonight will be performing on September 7th, so please mark your calendars. Also, the Fall Community Yard Sale is set for September 8th through the 11th. Make sure you complete your application for a free permit for your home to be included on the virtual map. Please see the village website for details, and I think I'm doing this one. Our last coffee with the village president and trustees is scheduled for Saturday, September 17th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the Brighter Palm Park. This is a great opportunity to come out and meet your elected officials to discuss neighborhood topics. Please see the village website for more information. That will conclude my presidential remarks. Do we have a village manager's report?
Thank you, Your Honor. Yes, the last coffee with the village president at Crimples Park was a great turnout. Thanks for everyone who showed up for that. It was just a good community event, seeing that neighborhood out. Village Hall will be closed on September 3rd and 5th in observance of Labor Day. Obviously, we will take your payments online. We're not shutting that down, so please, if you make water bill payments or anything, feel free to go online or use the drop box outside Village Hall. We'll resume normal operations on September 6th. That concludes my report, Mr. President.
Village attorney's report?
I have no report,
Is there
Mr. President.
any unfinished business to come before the board tonight? Is there new business to come before the board tonight? Is there need for executive session?
There is not, Mr. President.
May I have a motion to adjourn?
You have a
Do I
motion?
have a second?
Yeah, the second.
Please call the roll.
Trustee Carmona?
Yes.
Trustee Franz?
Yes.
Trustee Fry?
Yes.
Trustee Pena Cola?
Yes.
Trustee Perez?
Yes.
That's five.
Motion carries, and we are adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.